Welcome to this new series where I'll be taking a look at the films of Stephen King. What? He only directed one movie? I know, but the films based on the written work of Stephen King, that just wasn't that catchy of a title. So before you get all excited like, oh, it's time to dissect the novels and compare them to the movies, I'm not that much of a reader. In fact, I literally never read literature. So what's the point? Well, it's simple actually. I just think that this would make for an interesting, diverse list of movies to cover. I mean, remember, he doesn't just write horror stories. What about Stand By Me or The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile? So, it should just be fun. So, just to be clear, I'm really mostly just gonna look at the movies, not the work that they're based on. Really quick before we can finally start, I've decided to exclude anthologies, like Creepshow. There won't be any sequels like Children of the Corn 8 or Genesis. Really? And for now, I'll skip the made-for-TV miniseries, but maybe I'll bundle them together in one single video, like at the end. That's all, let's start. I'll go through the movies chronologically based on the release date of the movie, not the written work they're based on. Which means that we're gonna start with, of course, Carrie. Directed by Brian De Palma, who made quite some great and successful movies, like Scarface, The Untouchables, Mission Impossible. But first, there was Carrie. And Carrie, she's like this outcast in school. A big part of that is because of her overly religious asshole of a mother. For example, her mother never bothered to tell her that girls eventually get their period. And, well, better late than never, when Carrie gets her first periods after PE class, she understandably freaks out. And high school girls are apparently the biggest bitches in the world because they make fun of her for that. Then, when the girls get punished, they get mad at Carrie for that and want to take revenge. Fucking high school teenage girl logic. The whole movie is mostly just one big setup to the famous prom scene where Carrie gets a bucket of pig blood thrown over her. It's such a shitty ass prank, but the fact that they actually killed a pig to get the blood, that's messed up. But what other bullies don't know is that Carrie possesses telekinetic powers. And, well, I'm basically spoiling the whole movie here, but then again, I guess most people are already familiar with the story. I like this movie. Sissy Spacek, she's great as Carrie. It's quite sad. She's sweet, innocent, very believable in her role. Piper Laurie, in her first role after a 15-year hiatus from film, well, I guess she's great. I mean, I hated her guts in this movie. I guess I was supposed to. Maybe it's just her. I mean, I also hate her character in Twin Peaks. A young John Travolta, it's always fun to see, drunk driving and slapping girls around. In fact, the whole movie is quite entertaining, but obviously the big show stealer is the ending. Carrie in her dress with her crown, it's quite iconic, both before and after she's been splattered in blood. And the whole tension, the build-up, it's pretty good. And the lack of music or sound in general afterwards, it's really well done. After that, some interesting directing and filming choices, like split screens, these split focus shots, and a lot of slow motion. And, well, you got yourself quite a memorable movie. Yes, you do. Haven't read the novel. Haven't seen the 2002 TV movie adaptation, but I did see the 2013 remake/adaptation. I honestly didn't mind it. I mean, obviously it was unnecessary, and I didn't really buy Chloe as Carrie, but it was okay. So, next up, probably the most famous, albeit quite untruthful Stephen King adaptation. Of course, this is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Haven't read the novel. I'll stop saying that for every movie. I did, however, talk about this movie before during my third Scariest Movies video. But in all honesty, I don't really like my videos anymore from around that period, so we're just gonna do it again. Also, just to be clear, I've always only seen the European cut, which runs for about 2 hours, and that's actually 25 minutes shorter than the original US cut. But from what I understand, Stanley Kubrick eventually even preferred this shorter cut, so yeah. The Shining, where Jack Nicholson takes on this job as an off-season caretaker at this huge hotel, which provides him with the opportunity and time to work on a new novel. I believe that in the Stephen King novel, it was simply just a haunted hotel. Here it's a little more ambiguous, but in the end, Jack goes insane, running around with a huge axe trying to slaughter his family, who are staying with him at the hotel. He's great though, definitely steals the show with his performance. It's nice. So, don't get me wrong, I really like this movie. I just never really understood why it's often called the best horror movie ever made. I don't think it's scary at all. I guess it's more psychological horror, but I don't know. I do think it's a great and definitely unique movie. And that's all Stanley Kubrick. He was so notoriously perfectionistic. According to Steadicam inventor and operator Garrett Brown, they did 148 takes for this scene. 148, that's crazy. And a lot of shots, or even whole scenes, were done between 60 and 80 times over. The camera work is marvelous though. Not just the obvious Steadicam work where little Danny is racing through the hotel or running through the maze, but also the more subtle shots. Really, the more often that I see this movie, the more I appreciate it for the cinematography. It works so well, especially with the sets and locations. It gives the whole movie such an odd, unique, even surreal vibe. I guess that's what makes The Shining for me. And yes, then you have all the classic scenes, you know, the blood gushing down the elevator, the all work and no play reveal, and, well, of course,
here's Johnny!
I don't know what else I can say about this one that hasn't been said a million times before already. It's a great movie. And, well, that's what it is for me, just a great psychological horror movie. I never bothered with reading into the movie too much. You know, with the whole it being a metaphor for the genocide of Native Americans or the Holocaust. Really, some people go completely overboard with these theories. Try and watch the documentary Room 237. I could only make it till some 30 minutes in. Up till that point it was nothing but random people coming up with the most far-fetched, over-analyzed interpretations of the movie. Really, I'm like, just enjoy the movie. Okay, so the next 3 movies, they were all released in the second half of 1983. Guess King was pretty in demand. The first one being Cujo, also known as That One Killer Dog Movie. Can't believe that actually worked. Anyway, well, let's see. Directed by what's his name? And it's a shame, because besides this one, all of the movies in this part are directed by highly regarded directors. But does it matter? Cujo. Apparently, Stephen King was drinking so much at the time that he wrote the novel that he can't remember writing the novel. But still, the movie adaptation is quite simple. Dog catches bad rabies and goes batshit crazy. Well, that's half of the movie. The other half concerns this family, with the wife cheating on their husband. That's not cool. The two stories somewhat come together when wife and son are locked inside their car because of crazy Cujo running around being crazy. The first half is pretty, you know, well, it's not boring, I mean it's quite watchable, but it's a killer dog movie. You're basically just waiting for the dog to attack people. And when that does happen, well, it's mostly shot and edited like this. You can't really see what's going on. And I understand that, otherwise you'd see a lot of puppets and sweet dogs being covered in egg whites and sugar. It would have been cool though if the people attacked by Cujo would also catch rabies and then go berserk, you know, I drink your blood style. All the guys going crazy like... But, unfortunately. It does get pretty hardcore when Cujo keeps trying to attack the mother and the son in the car. The kid looks legitimately scared. Jesus, this kid is scarier than anything in the whole movie. It's a great setup though, you know how they're trapped there in the car with Cujo. But at one point, it all just kinda starts to annoy me. Like, just get it over with, it can end now. And then a little later, it just kinda does. I don't know. I haven't read the novel, but the movie, it's very watchable, but it's really just that, a killer dog movie. It's okay. So let's just move on to the next one. And that would be The Dead Zone. And that sounds a lot scarier than it actually is. But hey, it's directed by David Cronenberg, straight out of Videodrome. So that definitely sounds promising. Let's take a look. Uh-oh, this teacher gets in a crazy car accident, and after a 5-year coma, he wakes up with psychic powers. It happens. Not really, but it's an interesting setup. Now he can sorta predict the future just by physical contact. That's cool. Not so cool is when your girlfriend leaves you during that coma and now has found another man who she has a baby with. But being the good sport that he is, he puts his powers to good use, trying to help the police solve a serial murder case. The teacher is played by, of course you've seen it, Christopher Walken, and well, he's always cool. It's weird, for some reason Walken just always looks a bit old to me, even when he was younger. We also have Martin Sheen. I like him. Here he plays this corrupt US Senate candidate and, well, he's a delight to look at. They meet later in the movie, but I don't want to get into the second half of the movie too much, because it might ruin the fun. So, what do we have? I like how they visualize the first time he discovers he has these psychic powers. It's cleverly done. And then later, it happens again and again, a little less interesting. And then, I don't know, I kind of feel like we have to talk about the ending, otherwise it just doesn't seem all that interesting perhaps. So, as per usual, you can skip to here in order to avoid some spoilers. Because when he shakes hands with Martin Sheen, he can see that he's going to blow up the world in the future. Or something like that. Little over the top though. Also, quite a coincidence that he gets to meet the next Hitler in the making, as he puts it. Anyway, and then it's all like, oh, if you had the chance to kill Hitler before he rose to power, would you do so? A little far-fetched, but it's an interesting setup. It's just a shame that, to me, the ending feels a bit rushed. And then the movie ends.
I don't know about this one. I always feel like I want to like it more, because it's a David Cronenberg movie and, well, he's made some great movies. But, yeah, I don't know. I just always feel like it has something missing, just a little, that would make it stand out. Still, it's not bad, it's just not all that memorable for me. Which brings us to the last 1983 Stephen King adaptation, the last movie in this video, Christine. Directed by John Carpenter, fresh off the set of The Thing. And, well, I love The Thing, so how about Christine?
Oh yes, Christine. And that's not the name of some hot chick, but rather an old car. An old car that this nerdy guy falls in love with, buys it off some creepy dude, fixes it, and, well, before you know it, he's bad to the bone. But let's back up a little bit. Because we start this movie with all the cliché high school stereotypes. The aforementioned nerdy guy who at one point even has a taped together pair of glasses. Come on. The jocks, the hot chicks, the bullies. We follow the nerdy guy, Arnie, and his friend, who is like the coolest guy ever. Really, he's popular, but not cocky. He got his friend's back, he's reasonable. He's just so likable. Anyway, so it's kinda like Carrie. The outcast gets bullied, but eventually starts to feel better about himself, until the bullies pull a prank that's really the final straw, and then he goes crazy. Carrie, more like Carrie, am I right? Anyway, because of Christine, Arnie turns into a bit of a douchebag. I mean, it's okay if you're an asshole towards your bullies, but not towards your friend, or girlfriend, or parents, or detectives. But I guess it's not his fault, it's Christine, obviously. In the novel, I believe the car is haunted by its previous owner, but here in the movie, the car's simply been cursed since production. It's just an evil car that turns its owner into a crazy person. And when this starts to happen, after a rather quiet, not super interesting first half, the movie becomes pretty cool. I love the shots with the car and the headlights, it's pretty badass. In general, Carpenter is great at creating that signature style and atmosphere of his. It really works well in the second half. I love these effects when Christine fixes herself after being damaged. That's pretty cool. And driving around on fire, that's pretty cool too. I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this review. It's just a pretty cool movie. I mean, the first half could have been a little more interesting, definitely, but it's okay. The second half does kind of make up for that.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one. It's a movie about a cursed car. It's directed by John Carpenter. It's pretty cool. Apparently, this movie went into production even before the novel was published. That's crazy, but I guess it says a lot of the popularity of King at that time. So, yeah. So, that brings us to the end of this first The Films of Stephen King video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like, I'll continue it. The whole series would be about 6 parts, maybe 7 or 8 if I include the made-for-TV miniseries video. So, let me know. And until then, have a nice day.